Jake the Film Guy, I am so thankful that you are here. This micro-budget filmmaking community does not exist without guys and gals like yourself. Today, let's dive into the nuts and bolts of what you need to give to a client. First thing you want to talk about with your client is a script. This is something I've learned through trial and error. Make sure that you have everything signed off on the script first. If you're going to be building the script, it needs to be abundantly obvious that you are going to build the script, hand it off to the client, and then get their approval before moving forward into production. If you start production without actually having the script thoroughly vetted, then you are going to run into problems. I once had a client that even after shooting, the client wanted to have a shot of a hospital. Production had already wrapped, the script was already done long before the production, but it was my responsibility for not sitting down and going through the script line by line and making sure that everything was okay so that our visions were mutual. This is so important. Make sure before you ever step foot onto the set and yell action that you've actually got the script locked. If they're developing the script, same rule applies. Do not start production without them signing off on the script. The second thing you want to include in your contract somewhere is information on payment. You need to be very upfront about this. I highly recommend that you request that 50% is due at the time of signing and the additional 50% is due by the first day of production. If they do not pay by the first day of production, you need to also have a clause in there that says there are going to be watermarks on your video's drafts until payment is received. This way they cannot just steal your intellectual property and say your name. It can say your company's name. If you've incorporated it as an LLC, it doesn't matter. It can say demo. As long as you've got some kind of mark on the video and that this is spelled out in the contract that this is an expectation, this will happen until payment is received. Once they've already paid for your services in full, you have no need to use a watermark. This is simply to protect you and incentivize them to pay. In your contract, you need to specify how many revisions they're entitled to. I highly recommend that you include at least one revision, if not two. That way they're getting a second and final draft, or, as the case may be, a third and final draft. This allows them to go through the video, tell them that they need to make detailed changes, and then send them back to you, at which point you will put them into the video and send it their way. Because I guarantee no matter how fine of a cut you give them, there's going to be something they want to change. It could be as simple as a logo or a font, or simply they just think it needs to be trimmed down. That's going to be the case more often than not. Don't take it personally. After all, they hired you to carry out their vision. You need to be a humble servant and just say, yes, sir, or yes, ma'am. Excellent. Right away. Done deal. I can handle that. Not a problem. Super. However, if at the end they really want some B-roll that is not something you already got coverage of, I recommend looking at some of the video stock sites. They don't have the best videos, but Video Blocks is one place that you can go. You can find some videos that were shot on some really, truly gorgeous red epics and such. You can also try the Film Supply. I know it's not called the Film Supply. Filmsupply.com. They have their sister company to Music Bed. Of course, it's a lot pricier than just the flat rate that Video Blocks offers, but it might be something you want to consider. You do not want to go and have a 12-hour shoot only to find out that there was this unsaid or misunderstood expectation that you would also be at the company at 8 p.m. the next night for their mixer. You need to make sure that you are on the same page with them as far as how long you're shooting and how many different locations you'll be shooting at. Your clients rarely understand all that goes into a video, so I highly recommend that you also include some kind of breakdown, an invoice that's itemized with every expense that's going to be involved in this production, because that allows them to wrap their heads around what exactly their dollars are going towards. Price is a myth. That's what Uncle G, the sales guru and entrepreneur, says, and I do believe it. However, having said that, most business owners, and even families, if they're hiring you for something a little more intimate, they want to know where their dollars are going. Break it down as far as you want to, but don't get so esoteric that you lose them in the sauce. The last thing you want to do is get all tangled up in terms that they don't have to know about, like rotoscoping. When it comes to discounts, I don't recommend giving one. If you want to move people up or down a package, and by that I mean you offer more or less of a video, more or less locations, actors, the whole 9 yards. Use common sense here. I do recommend that you offer some kind of discount. I do 10% for nonprofits and 20% for churches. The last line item that you should include somewhere in your contract is a clause about arbitration. If you go to this post on contracts, you can find a template that's ready for you to use, and you could just copy that one. I pulled this from the public domain. I added a few bells and whistles to it just from trial and error. But with arbitration, it simply goes like this. Think of Judge Judy without all the hype and hoopla. Judge Judy is an arbiter. She is the person that would go between two disgruntled parties and try to find a resolution. The court costs are cheaper. I've never had to do it. I've learned this from the mentors who were in business far longer than I've been alive at SCORE, which I also recommend, score.org. See if there's a chapter near your town and go and get free business advice and or mentoring. And you can even go to their seminars free if you're a veteran. As far as the arbitration clause goes, you need to include it. It's very simple. Say that you're going to handle any disputes by binding arbitration in your county. You can see this form at, again, this post. Check it out, download it, tear it up, use it. However, as with everything, I am a poor substitute, and all of the people here are poor substitutes for legal counsel. Its use or misuse is your responsibility. That's all I've got for you today. I've already advertised the post twice. However, as far as this video goes, you can subscribe, comment, share, like, whatever you got to do to help us as micro-budget filmmakers continue to grow and sharpen one another. Until then, keep creating with the king, and I'll see you guys around.
Scene 9, shot B, take 1, mark.
Quiet on set. Ready? Action.